guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, High Heels and Hustle. If this is your first time here, my name is Latoya, and High Heels and Hustle is the place where we are growing our businesses and changing our lives. If it's not your first time, thank you for coming back. I really do appreciate your support. And if you haven't already joined the High Heels and Hustle community, hit the subscribe button below. We talk about all things business, entrepreneurship, solopreneurship, freelancing, marketing, all of that great stuff. So if you're interested in that type of content, hit the subscribe button below and also join the High Heels and Hustle community on Facebook and Instagram. Now today, I am so excited about this video because so many of you have been contacting me and saying that you want to start an online business, which I think is amazing. So I just want to give you some things to consider before you start your online business. Let's get into the video. So the first thing to consider is, what is your business idea? Now, sometimes I speak to people and they say, oh, I cannot wait to start my own business one day. And I say, that's great. You know, what's your business going to be? And it's dead silence because they have no idea. For some people, it's just, oh, I don't want to keep working for somebody else. I want to be my own boss. And that is great. And for some people, that is the motivation. But I would definitely say, think about a business idea. You don't necessarily need to know exactly what your business is going to be at this point, but at least have a business idea. And I will be posting a video soon talking about how to find your business idea, how to pinpoint your niche that you should be going into. So I will be creating a playlist for all of these types of videos, so make sure you just watch through the playlist so that you can find all of this content. But knowing your business idea is the first thing that I would say, because if you don't know what you want to do, everything else is just not going to fall into place. Number two is to be specific about your niche and your target audience. And again, this is one where when I speak to people who have a business idea and I say, okay, so who's your target market? What's your niche? And people feel like if they have a target market or if they have a niche, then that means that they're excluding other people. And to some extent that can be true. But if you don't have a target audience, you will just be putting out content to every and anybody and hoping that the right people stumble across it, which actually is more detrimental because you're giving your energy, you're giving your time to a community or to an audience that actually are not interested in what you're offering. So I can give you an example. When I started High Heels and Hustle, I remember speaking to one of my business friends and saying to them that I wanted to create a community of business-minded women and women that I could help to step out into business. And I remember him saying to me, well, why just women? But for me, I felt that my target needed to be women because I felt that I had more to offer to that community. Now, that doesn't mean that men cannot still take the information that I give, run with it and make it work. Of course they can. You know, I have some men who like my Facebook page and consume the content on there. Some men that are on my Instagram page, they consume the content there. But I know for me that my target is women. So I make sure that the content that I put out is specific to that demographic. So it's really important that you do niche down, but it doesn't mean that other people won't be able to benefit from your content as well. Number three is market research. This is really important because if you have an amazing product, an outstanding service, but there isn't a need for that service, no one is going to become your customer. And at the end of the day, when you have a business, you want customers. So market research is really important. So whatever your product is, I would say do some samples, send some of those samples to people that you trust, family and friends, ask them for their feedback on everything. Absolutely everything, because they will give you their honest feedback, and it's so important to have that feedback before you step out into your business. Number four follows on from what I was talking about in point number three, and this is to consider what problem you're solving. Now, sometimes I speak to people and they say, well, I don't think I'm solving a problem. My product is a food product, or my product is clothing. You are solving a problem, because if, for example, I have a party and I need a wedding cake, I have a problem and I will go online or I'll go to the shop looking for a product that will solve my problem. So if you're baking cakes or if you're making clothes, whatever you are doing, you are solving a problem. But you've got to identify what that problem is, because that will also help you to niche down your target audience and to know exactly who to market your product to. Number 5 is to create a business plan. So many people miss this step. And yes, I do know people who have not done a business plan and have still been successful, but then they later go back to do a business plan anyway. So I would recommend doing a business plan up front because it just helps you to give you a bit more direction, a bit more guidance, and it helps you to answer questions that will give you direction for your business. So gone are the days when business plans need to be 60 pages long, 20 pages long. In fact, I've created a free PDF for you guys. There's a link in the description of this video. Head to my website, you can download it absolutely free. And that business plan will help you in the beginning stages. It is an extremely condensed version, and I will be doing a more in-depth version coming up soon. But for right now, for those of you who are stepping out into business for the first time, these are the 6 main points that you need to consider for your business plan. So get your free PDF and get the ball rolling with your business plan. Number 6 is to decide on your company name and branding. Now, we'll say up front, branding is so much more than a logo and company colors. And I will be posting another video soon talking about branding because I think it's so important that we understand what branding is to make sure that we are maximizing the tools for our brand. But yeah, definitely consider your company name. And what I would say is if you're in the UK, check Companies House to make sure that there's not another company registered with that name. If you're not in the UK, I'm sure that in your country, there is some type of resource like that online as well. And also make sure that the name is not trademarked, because the worst thing is to set up a business and then in a few months' time, you've got to change your company name because it's trademarked or because another company already has that name. Or worst case scenario, somebody is taking you to court. So let's just avoid all of those types of possibilities and do our due diligence before choosing a company name and starting our brand. Number 7 is to buy a website domain name. Now, you can get this for an extremely cheap price on websites such as GoDaddy, and there are so many other websites as well that you can choose from. But the reason that I would say this, because some of you might be thinking, well, I'm just planning to have an Instagram account. I'm just planning to have a LinkedIn profile for my business, which is great. But if you're thinking long term that you want to make this a sustainable business, you will need a website eventually. Now, I'm going to tell you a story that happened to me because a few years ago, I set up a wedding and events company called Special Touch, which I still run today. And I remember looking online to see if specialtouch.com was available, and it was, and I was so excited. So I got busy creating all the things that I needed to put in place. And when I came to buy the domain name, it had already been purchased. And the annoying thing about that, it was purchased, but it wasn't being used. And somebody had just purchased it to sell it back. And I could have got this domain name for like $9.99 or something. And this person was trying to sell me that domain name for $10,000. No exaggeration. And so I changed the name. I changed the name. And fortunately that worked out for me. But the worst thing would be to launch your business and then your website domain is not available. So if you can buy that from now, when you are ready for it, you already own it and you don't have to go through what I had to go through. Tip number 8 is to contact the Inland Revenue or visit their website. The gov.co.uk website has got so much information. Now, of course, that is for people based in the UK. If you're based in another country, I'm sure there'll be some type of service that can give you the same type of information. You basically just need to find out, do you need to register your company? Do you need to register as self-employed or as a sole trader? Just to make sure that you cover yourself. So it's definitely worth doing your due diligence up front. But for those of us in the UK, the gov.co.uk website has got so much information, free resources available for those of us who are in business or who are thinking about stepping out into business. And I would definitely say it's worth taking some time to read through those free resources to make sure that you've got the most information before you get started. Number 9 is learn search engine optimization. Now, this can be daunting for some people, I get it. So if you can afford to outsource it, I would definitely recommend outsourcing this because it's a skill. However, if you are outsourcing it, I would still recommend at least learning a little bit about it. It will definitely help you to understand how search engines work and understand how you can get your website on the first page of the search engines. So SEO stands for search engine optimization, and in its simplest form, it's making sure that your website is optimized for the search engine. So if you just say it backwards, that's basically what it is. That's it in its simplest form. But effectively, this goes back to what I was saying earlier. You want to be the answer to somebody's problem. And so with search engine optimization, you want the search engines to know that you're there, your service or your product is available to everybody that has a problem that's searching. You want the search engines to match the person that's searching for the person that has the problem to your website that has the answer. So yeah, definitely a skill. I'm not going to go into all of the technicalities of it, but if you do want help with search engine optimization, just contact us and we are more than happy to help you with that. Number 10 is to set up a way to track your income and expenses. Now, at the end of the day, as much as we love to serve our customers, as much as we love to serve our community, we still want to make some money from this thing, okay? And you want to make sure that you're tracking your expenses, particularly if you've got to pay taxes. And you also want to make sure that you are tracking your expenses. Now, what I will say is, I guess this comes into pricing, which we'll cover in a later video when we talk about the 4 Ps of marketing, but track your time as well. So I would say track your expenses, your income, and the time that you spend. And the reason I say that is because I was working on a project for a client and I gave them my quote and they accepted. But by the time I added up how much time I actually spent working on this client's project, I wasn't actually making any money. So that's definitely something that you need to look into. And also make sure that you're tracking your expenses, because as you go along this journey, you may need to change your pricing. So I'll give you an example. If you're offering shipping or postage and you're charging customers £2.99 for that service, well, if you get to the post office and they say, well, the postage is £4.99, you're already £2 out of pocket. So it's definitely something to keep track of so that you can make the necessary changes as you go along your journey. Number 11 is to define payment methods. Now, this is really, really important, particularly as we move towards a more cashless society. You want to make sure that you're offering electronic payment services. So this can be PayPal, Stripe, there are so many others. Just find the one that works for you and communicate with your customers how you expect to be paid. So if you want to accept cash and electronic payments, make sure you communicate that. If it's cash only, communicate that as well. And what I would say as well is consider when you want to be paid. So for my wedding and event service, I take payment up front because it's a made to order service. If I'm designing and producing a wedding invitation for David and Sarah, who are getting married on the 25th of September 2020, and they cancel, chances are I'm not going to find another David and Sarah getting married on that same day. So I've wasted time, I've wasted resources, and I'm now out of pocket. So I take payment up front for that reason, because it's a made to order service. So you need to consider whether you need to implement something like that for your business as well. And number 12 is to have an accountability system. Now, you can use a planner, a calendar, or you can use a checklist or a person. I remember a few months ago working on a project and I knew the deadline and that I needed somebody to keep me on track. And so I asked one of my friends to be my accountability partner. And you guys, she was so strict. Like, she would call me at the end of the day and be like, okay, so what did you work on today? Okay, tomorrow morning, send me what you plan to work on for tomorrow. And she kept me on the ball and it really helped me. And it's not something that I do all year round, but if I feel that I need somebody to hold me accountable, then I will ask friends and family to do that. So don't be afraid to find somebody who you know will keep you on the ball, or to use a planner and make sure that you stick to it. So they are my tips for things that you need to consider before you start an online business. And I wish you all the best with your online business. And of course, if there's anything that I can do to help, contact me. All the details are in the description of this video. If you're looking for mentoring services, I offer that as well. And if you're looking for any services to do with your website, graphic designing, all of that, LB Media has got you covered. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, join the High Heels and Hustle community. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.